Lord knows if you're not rich, you're back there with the cattle. I know it sounds unfeeling, but it's an economic equation at this particular point in time, you know?
And I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with me, because I actually agreed with you like years ago, that you need to figure out how to improve your life and put yourself in a situation to afford yourself those luxuries in life.
Yes. I feel like I know exactly the conversation we had like years ago. Yeah, about this. Yeah.
Now, I'd rather just like figure out how to like make the back better.
Oh, you're that kind of guy now.
I feel like I am. I have like almost zero desire to figure out how in life to get to that top tier and enjoy it, knowing that there are people out there that even if they tried, they'll never make it there. Because that's how the system is. We've had this conversation, this idea of meritocracy in America. It's like the biggest psyop anyone's ever been told, because that's not true.
It's not.
Meritocracy is a factor, but the reality is that like who you know, your network, and your relationships are more important than meritocracy. Actually, the best combination is to have relationships, network, know the right people, and be competent. But if you had to choose one, meritocracy is a clear number 2 to being in the right network of people.
I would say it's a clear number 3. I think it's 3 things. It's competency and capabilities will get you only so far.
Yeah.
Network is what will get you farther. And the worst part, and I hate saying it, but I've said this before, your willingness to compromise on values.
Whoa.
Brother, I speak from my own experience. I do my best to be a man of...
True.
I do my best to be deeply competent and capable. Agreed? I'm not the smartest and the sharpest tool in the tool shed. No, but I am a hard worker. Number 2, do I have a vast network? Absolutely. I'm proud of the network that I've built over decades of work. But number 3 is my biggest constraining factor. I am not willing to compromise on certain things, which is why I'm not as successful as some others. And people might say, hey, Peter, you're white. No. I know for a fact that my limitations in certain aspects of financial deployment have been constrained because I'm not willing to sell my soul. I've made those decisions definitively, distinctly, and specifically. And I have sorely been sometimes even regretting the fact that I stood by my principles. Just in all honesty. It's like, fuck, I gave away that opportunity because my values at the point in time were so important to me. And I say this with a little bit of facetiousness, but at the same time, like, don't be deceived. Like, this is a true struggle as a deployer of capital in the money world. Like, I have to make the best decisions for the money that I get to be responsible to it for my investors. I cannot waver on my principles and guiding principles and values that I said would be my deployment thesis. And when opportunities arise to go outside that thesis, where the multiples are extraordinary, I have said no, which is why, as you well know, I will always say no to shit coins and the meme coins, because that is an area where I said no, and I will never waver from it. But I'll tell you, I have had DMs where I'm literally just fucking 2 clicks away from making like $100,000, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, but it's never worth it to me. And so that's the reality.
Just a quick break before this video continues. If you haven't signed up for Soju yet, go check it out, soj.oo. It's a social discussion platform that we've created. That's where the community is hanging out. Definitely worth checking out, soj.oo. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, do it now.
That's the reality. Are you willing to compromise on your values? That is what gets you to the highest levels.
The combination of all 3 is probably the deadliest combination.
Yeah.
And we see that in life all around us.
Yeah. All of the major influencers, all the conservative influencers, they have a little bit of competency. They have a pretty big network.
But that's my concern, is that the people who are competent, people who have network, and most importantly, like you mentioned, which people are willing to compromise on their values.
Oh, yeah.
That have very little integrity.
Oh, yeah.
These are the people that run our society. These are the people that run our institutions. These are the people that are driving the society to this new technological future. I don't see how this ends well. I just don't see how, because those are people in charge. If they're the ones steering the ship, there is no way that they steer the ship in the right direction. Then what do you do to escape that, knowing that that is literally getting on a train that's eventually going to run into a brick wall? But if you are outside of it, like, your life is just not going to be as good. You're not going to be on the Disney cruise. You're going to be on like the alternative cruise line that has more fairness for everyone, but it's not going to be as good as Disney.
Nothing is as good as Disney at the highest levels.
This is the problem.
Yes, this is the problem. So what you're saying, Matt, if I can recapitulate back what you just said, is that you're saying that not all, but most of the leaders of today are compromised individuals from a value perspective?
I mean,
and that's not a good combination for good leadership and good future. Is that what you're saying?
I've been trying to figure out like who's like a real good person that I think deserves to be in charge. Like, who's a good person that I feel like if they were to keep on going in the direction that they do, that it'd be worth following or going along for the ride for what they're doing.
Have you come up with an individual?
I can't think of one person.
I'm curious.
I can't think of one person.
Well, I've heard you talk.
Maybe people watching, maybe they have an idea of someone that, like, dude, you really check this person out.
I've heard you talk about Tucker very well.
Yeah, but he's like past this. He's past a point in life of wanting to be an activist, of wanting to change society. It's just not something that he cares about as much anymore.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
You know?
And
it takes a certain amount of fire and maybe a little bit of youth in order to say, I'm willing to take risk in order to save the people.
Yeah.
The most revolutionary moments of history, of the world, are actually led by young people.
Yeah.
Because you have to be willing to do it.
Your risk tolerance is very high.
I mean, there's got to be some guy out there in his mid-20s. They're like, I'm gonna die for this, and I get it and I understand it. Like, they must exist. Maybe it's a goal of mine to go find them.
Maybe if you're out there and you're a spitfire of a young blood in your mid-20s and you have a chip on your shoulder and an axe to grind, maybe you should join soj.oo and let us know, soju.oo, and let us know about who you are, because maybe, just maybe, you could be the next shining knight that goes on an epic quest to save the world.
I think that, society always says, oh, Gen Z, Gen A, they're lost and they only care about, TikTok, and they only care about video games, and they only care about meme coins.
And stroking their peens.
And that's what they say about them all the time. And I think that's by design. That's intentional.
That's the psyop.
It's to keep
them down.
Kids of that generation that feel like they can do something and make them feel like, no, you can't. You're a fuck up. You can't do shit. Shut up. Go sit down. Go play some video games.
Yeah.
But the reality is that we should be encouraging them. We should be raising them up, because maybe those people with more of a utopian viewpoint in society, the ones that haven't been so corrupted, the ones that haven't had the ability to sell their soul over and over and over and over again, maybe we shouldn't be empowering them. Because again, throughout history, the reason this country exists is because those guys said, we're going to do something about it.
Yes. And if Will could do a little bit of diligence real quick, if I remember correctly, I'm going to get this wrong, of course, I believe the average age of the signatories of the Declaration of Independence was like 24 years old.
I think it was like 26, 27.
Okay, so
maybe on the high 20s, okay. But yes, young.
I mean, I know that there were some signatories that were like 21.
Yeah, they were not
44.
50.
Oh, 44? We were way off. Okay, 44. So regardless, the average age of our Senate is 62.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's clear differential here, right? They built them differently back then, right?
What is the average age of Congress?
Let's look that up. So the average age of the signatories, signers of the Declaration of Independence is 44. But we know for a fact that some of them were super young in their 20s. What's the average age of our Congress?
Well, because we had one kid that jumped in Soji. He's like, hey,
58?
One kid in Soji, he came in and said, hey, I'm in college and I'm happy to be here. I watched the pod. We have a small group of friends and it's growing every day. And it's a group of us that are starting to wake up and understand what's going on in the world. And I just want you to know that we're here too. And I was like, dude, bring the crew. How amazing
Our hearts go out
would
to
it
you.
be if within Soju, it was a bunch of 20, 30-year-olds, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23-year-olds that were like, we're going to make a difference. We understand the system is broken. We want to make change. And what if they started gather? That would actually be amazing. I would do everything I could to support them. Thanks for watching the clip. If you want to see the full episode, click here. If you want to see more clips, click here.